Hey there. Let me ask you something that might just stop you in your tracks. What if I told you that for a massive chunk of your day, you aren't actually living in the real world?
50%. Yeah, just let that sink in for a second. What on earth could that number mean?
Well, studies have shown that's how much of your waking life your mind is, well, somewhere else. Yep. For half the day, you're not really here. Your mind is off time traveling. It's either simulating the past, replaying that dumb thing you said or cringing at some old mistake, or it's simulating the future, which usually means worrying about stuff that, let's be honest, probably isn't going to happen anyway.
No, seriously, check in with yourself right now. Where was your mind just a second ago, before I started talking about this? Were you thinking about your grocery list, that email you forgot to send, maybe something that happened yesterday? If the answer is yes, then you just proved my point. Welcome to the simulation.
So, what is this simulation that's eaten up half our lives? Let's break it down.
Okay, so the fancy term for this is mental time travel. It's exactly what it sounds like. Your body is physically here, in the present, but your mind, your consciousness, it's completely checked out. It's kind of like a little ghost version of you has floated out of your body to go haunt old memories or scout ahead for all the disasters that could happen. And look, it's easy to just write this off as harmless daydreaming, right? But it's usually not. It's more like a fortune teller's curse. Because think about it, we're rarely simulating winning the lottery, are we? Nope. We're simulating getting fired, bombing that big presentation, saying exactly the wrong thing at a party. We're just predicting one catastrophe after another. And this curse, it has a real, tangible, damaging effect. See, every time we let our minds wander down that path, we're actually building something in our brains. A kind of dangerous mental infrastructure. Let's call it the worry highway.
This right here, this is the absolute core of the simulation trap. Here's the crazy part. Your brain doesn't really get the difference between a real threat and one you're just imagining. So when you're in your head, picturing that presentation going horribly wrong, your heart starts pounding, your palms get sweaty, your body floods with stress hormones, exactly as if it were happening for real. You are paying a very real physical price for a crisis that is completely made up.
And it's not like it's a one-and-done kind of thing. Oh no. Our minds love to play these little disaster movies on a 24/7 loop. It's the same worries, the same fears, just projected onto the screen of our mind day after day after day.
So how does this become such an automatic habit? Well, it all starts with just one single anxious thought. Think of it like a little spark. And then you give it your attention. You follow it. There's this saying in neuroscience, neurons that fire together, wire together. Every single time you follow that anxious thought, you're making that neural connection stronger. You're carving the groove just a little bit deeper. And if you do that enough times, well, you're not on a quiet little country path anymore. You've just built a 6-lane, nonstop superhighway straight to Anxietyville.
And that's exactly why you can't just stand in the middle of that highway and scream, "Stop!" Willpower? It's totally useless here. Telling yourself to just stop worrying is like trying to stop a speeding car with your bare hands. You're just gonna get run over. You need a completely different strategy. Okay, so if willpower is out, what actually works? The good news is there are some really simple but incredibly powerful tools to get you off that highway and pull your mind back into the real world. And the first one is an anchor. It's called the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique, and it is so simple. The next time you feel your mind starting to spiral, just stop, pause, look around you right now, and mentally name 5 things you can see. Okay? Now, find 4 things you can physically feel. Maybe it's your feet on the floor or the texture of your shirt. Next, listen. What are 3 things you can hear? Then 2 things you can smell, and finally, 1 thing you can taste, maybe the coffee you just had.
So why does this simple little trick work so well? Because your brain can't do 2 things at once. It can't be lost in an abstract simulation and be focused on your concrete sensory reality. It just can't. So by forcing it to process what you're seeing, touching, and hearing right now, you are literally dropping an anchor into the present moment. You're pulling your mind out of that chaotic storm and back to the calm of the here and now.
All right, so this simulation doesn't just cause anxiety, it also causes paralysis. You know that feeling of being totally stuck? So what's the escape hatch for that?
Oh, we have all been here. You've got a decision to make. Could be big, could be tiny, and your brain just starts running endless what-if simulations for every single option.
It's exactly like having 100 tabs open on your computer browser, and they're all playing different videos at full volume. It's complete chaos, it's overwhelming, and so, what do? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
So let's contrast that madness with a beautifully simple escape plan, the 2-minute rule. Here's how it works. If a decision, or even just the first step of a bigger task, can be done in 2 minutes or less, you just do it, immediately. No debating, no what-ifs, no simulation. Deciding where to get lunch? Just pick one. Need to answer that email? Just write it. Done.
And you have to remember, for most of these little things, the goal isn't to make the perfect choice. It's just to make progress. Making a good enough decision and moving on frees up a shocking amount of mental energy. The whole point is to just close that mental browser tab, shut down the simulation, and get your focus back on what really matters.
And the payoff for doing this, it's huge. When you actually manage to stop living in that gray, anxious, simulated world, and you come back to the present moment, it's like the world suddenly switches from black and white to full, vibrant color. You start to actually notice things again. You feel more. You finally get to experience the life that you are actually living.
I want this to really sink in. The past, it's just a memory. The future, it's just a simulation. It's not real yet. The only place you can ever actually live, the only place you can act and feel and be, is right here, right now. This is your reality.
So I'm going to leave you with a question. Think about all those browser tabs you have open in your mind right now. All those little worries, those tiny decisions you've been putting on the back burner. Using what we've just talked about, which one are you going to close first?